For today's 5-minute makeup tutorial, we're going to create this quick and easy smoky liner look. This is part of a series where I created 3 different looks using all of the same products but with different placement. All you're going to need is liner. This can be gel or pencil in any deep shade you want. Next, you're going to need a shadow that works with the liner. So I picked brown and brown eyeshadow. And finally, you're going to need a shadow at least 1 shade lighter and 1 shade darker. This is going to be used to contour and highlight your eye shape. This is going to be super easy and super quick, so let's get started. As with every look that we create, you want to start off with a good base. Now for dry skin like me, I use just a matte concealer. This creates a smooth base. It gives the eyeshadow something to hold on to. But for oilier lids, you want to use an eyeshadow primer just to prevent those oils from breaking down the eye makeup. And then for mature lids, a little bit of both can actually go a long way. A lot of primers can weigh down the lid, so a sheer layer, even using a damp sponge to apply it, will be great for mature skin. But I do have an entire video talking about how to work on mature skin if you want to check that out after this one. Then you want to take a shadow at least 1 shade lighter than your skin tone. This should be matte, and use this to brighten underneath the brows. This is going to give us that nice lifted brow appearance. Then you're going to bring your brush slowly down so it gets into the crease and then just slightly onto the lid, just using whatever's left over on the brush. This will just create a smooth texture for us to work over, but also set the primer in place as well. The next eyeshadow should be at least 1 shade darker than your skin tone, so think of your contour, your bronzer, as long as they're matte. In the same way that they shape and frame your face, this is going to shape and frame your eyes. Take your favorite blending brush, and I'm going to be using this one. What I love about this is I can use it horizontally, but also vertically. It's great for blending. And I'm going to be holding this in the middle of the brush handle. This is just going to give me a lot more movement, but still control. And we're going to start by sweeping this into the crease of the eye. What I would recommend doing is keeping your eyes open and just hitting where the eye shape is creasing. So right where the lid is creasing into the eye shape, you want to go right in there and slightly higher. Now don't worry about blending it up or down too much right now, because if you're using a brush like this, once you actually apply into the crease, you can then turn the brush on its side. And what this is going to do is sweep it up and down for us. That's why I love this brush so much. Just remember, we don't want to blend this up too high. We still want to leave a little highlight under the brows. Next, I'm going to take the gel liner and I'm using the brown shade. You can use any shade that you want. And I'm applying this with an angled brush. Now, what I like to do when I'm using an angled brush is I start in the middle, but I always make sure that the pointed angle is to the outer edge, bringing it to the middle. And then when I do the inner corner, I flip it around to get to the inner corner and blend it to the middle again. I always like to make sure I'm not doing one solid line from the inner corner to the outer corner. It's just a really easy way to apply your liner if you have slightly shaky hands. I'm also going to apply the gel in between my lashes by taking my brush and pushing upwards, pushing this gel right in between the lashes. Now, if this is too ticklish for you, or maybe because you wear contact lenses, you're a little iffy about using gel, that's totally fine. You can definitely skip it. I just really like the way that this looks. It just adds a little bit more of a smoky look. For the next step, you want to grab that shadow that works with the liner. This can be any deep tone. If you use black, you don't necessarily have to use a black eyeshadow. You can use like a deep brown or a deep green or a deep purple, and you just apply this over the top, just as long as it works and has that same depth. It's also going to fill in any areas where the liner might not be very smooth, but it's also going to set it in place, which is great. You want to be using a stamping, pressing motion, very similar to how we applied the gel. You're basically doing the same thing, but using a powder to hold it in place. As this is more of a natural look, I'm going to be using my favorite natural lashes, and this is my 6th time using them. And look how good the shape is. Now to finish the look, and this is optional, but I applied a nude liner on the lower waterline. What this is going to do is create a contrast with the upper depth at the lash line. So we're just going to have more of an open but really defined eye. And then you can use whatever's left over on your liner brush and smudge this just in the center of the lower lash line. And then I just use my fingertips to sweep and blend this out. And that's the finished look. I really hope that you will try this one out. Super easy to recreate. I'd love to see it if you do recreate it, and let me know what shadows you like to use, what shades you like to use. And if you give it a go, I'd love to hear how it went. And as always, my friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you in the next one.